Hello and welcome to Homer for Friday, October 17th, 2025. Today we are going to be reading from lines 370 to 386 in book 12 of the Iliad, in which we see somebody pick up a massive rock. I hope you enjoy. Let's get right into it. So saying, Telamonian Aias departed, and with him went Teucer, his own brother, begotten of one father, and with them Pandion bare the curved bow of Teucer. Now when, as they passed along within the wall, they reached the post of great-souled Menestheus, and to men hard-pressed they came, the foe were mounting upon the battlements like a dark whirlwind, even the mighty leaders and rulers of the Lucians, and they clashed together in fight, and the battle cry arose. Then Aias, son of Telamon, was first to slay his man, even great-souled Epicles, comrade of Sarpedon, for he smote him with a huge jagged rock, that lay the topmost of all within the wall by the battlements. Not easily with both hands could a man, such as mortals now are, hold it, were he never so young and strong. But Aias lifted it on high and hurled it, and he shattered the four-horned helmet and crushed together all the bones of the head of Epicles. And he fell like a diver from the high wall, and his spirit left his bones. Amazing. Let's do it in the Greek.
Wasarafwanas asapabet lamonios aias kai waitau kasomeia kasignatos kai opatros kai samapandion te group paracambula toxa autemenestauos megatuomo porgon hikonto Dekosento sionto sebego menoisi di conto Poi de palxes bainon Poi de palxes bainon remne laila piisoi Iftimoi ligion hegator sere medontes Suona ballon toma kesta nantion morta da uotei Aias de protos telamonios andra katekta Sorberontos et hierona picleia megatomon Marmore ocroion ti ballon rateque osendos Creto megas parapalexin opertato suo da camin rea Ceres amfoteres quae ande quae ane ruode malhebon Oi nun protoies irra rupso athenambal embalareras Placere tetrafalon cunen sundos teraraxei Panta mudis capallessor analteriae oikos Capes aflupse luo purgo Ipedos teatrumos
Wonderful. I need to put the text closer to me. You can't see it, but there's all this stuff going on in the studio here at work. Oh, shoot. So that's why papers over here, lyres over here. Unintentionally playing the caesura there in that last line. Capes afep hupse luo porgu lipedoste atuamos. I usually don't put the caesura in. You might put the caesura in. I personally think that after thousands of lines of singing, you sort of just go through it and the data becomes quite continual. I write essays about this, as you can check the description of the video. But that's that. We have a lot to talk about here because this is a astoundingly beautiful passage for a variety of reasons. The first thing I want to note is this idea that, people couldn't lift a rock now as they used to be able to lift rocks. As if there's a heroic aspect to the former ability to lift rocks that we are now missing in this Homeric storyline, right? Well, that can mean rea, right? So first of all, that's an interesting way to end a line, rea, right? As a single syllable, monosyllabic pronunciation of rea, right? Not easily, right? And usually rea, it's rho, epsilon, iota, alpha, but this is just rho, epsilon, alpha. So it's really compressed, and then after that, it's synesthetic into a single syllable. Right? So hoyoi nun brotoyes, right? So hoyoi nun brotoyes orarhup sothenem valareras, right? So basically these lines taken alone as a quote, right, are all about what you can do with your hands and all about this idea that those who are listening at the drinking party or the festivities or the competition that are listening to this Homeric line are in a distinctly different temporal moment than the person who could lift this rock. Not a man nor somebody who is young, as if to imply that those are young, malhabon, right? Not either of those could, as mortals are now, lift the rock up. What does that mean for heroes in the past? This must have meant that they really were quite tremendous in order to pick up these rocks that were primed at the top of the battlement in order to be thrown down. And then the other thing I think is interesting about that is that there is, I think, a strong sense of echo going on throughout these lines with these repetitive choices of diction. So if we go back to the repetition of hikonto, right? It seems like that would be repetitive, but actually I think it really provides for the differentiation in so we are going, right, and so we arrive further. It gives it some narrative aspect, this repetition. Same thing with the narrative repetition of the nature of the Trojans' force, like a raging storm, right? That's a very strong description that takes place other places. I really like that. And it also goes along with this nautical image that takes place in 385, 384 to 385. Right? Pantamudis kefales hodaran neuteri. As a diver, he falls down. The Greeks dove for their sponges. Fun fact, before sponges were in factories, we got all our sponges from people that would dive into water and literally pick up natural sponges. You can still buy natural sponges today. I highly recommend that you do, because these are animals, so they grow at the bottom of the seafloor. The Greeks are familiar with what it means to fall off of the ship. And it's almost as if the ship as a whole is this wall that they're behind, and below it is the water, and they're the pirates trying. And so you have this inversion of situation where instead of them trying to sack the city, it's the city sackees coming out to try to, get up the ship and onto it. Maybe this makes them monstrous, right? And they're coming from the sea down below. Anyway, I think there's also this repetition of ostea, right? Ostea thumos, ostea raxe. He breaks the bones, and then the thumos leaves the bones. What does that mean for the Homeric ideal of a body as well? We have strength mentioned here, but we also have composition of the body. Is the body simply bones? Does your spirit leave your bones, or does your spirit, your thumos, does it leave your heart? Does it leave your muscles, right? This question is not exactly resolved by, medical treatises. And in fact, the diverse way of discussing the body and the way that the spirit leaves in death, whether it's, falling backward on one's spear, or whether it's, getting one's head chopped off, stabbed, right, pokey. There's some great graphs out there by German scholars that show all the ways in which people die in the Iliad. I think it's significant. And so the picking up of the rock here seems to be something, I think, a important repetition and something that one can read into. Other repetitions include hupselu, hupsothen, right? And then flase sounds like thalases, right? I know that's not really, relevant to, it's not exact repetition, but I feel it, right? There's just a variety of things here that I think are impressive echoes on behalf of the poet. Anyway, this has gone on for quite some time. I hope that you enjoyed this discussion of these lines, and I look forward to sharing more Homer with you tomorrow. Thank you so much for listening, and I hope you have a wonderful day. Bye.